On Children's Day, my parents held a grandchildren's feast for the family. I arrived straight from work to see my kids seated on the floor with paper dishes while my sister's children dined at the adorned table. Mom stated, "They're accustomed to scraps." My sister grinned. "You ought to be thankful they received anything." I uttered no words. My gaze met the next mortgage bill and simply pressed cancel. And then, what would you do if your own family, the people you've spent a lifetime propping up, started treating your kids like leftovers? Because that's exactly what happened to mine, and it finally pushed me to my absolute breaking point. My name's Arnold. I'm 36, an architect, the older child, the dependable one. For years, I've been the guy who draws lines for a living, then spends months making sure those lines become walls that actually stand up. At home, I've got my wife, Maya, who teaches 3rd grade, and our 2 amazing, loud, sticky, funny kids, Liam, who's 8, and Emma, who's 5. They're always asking where the sun goes at night. We live in a small townhouse that still smells a little like fresh paint because, honestly, I keep finishing things on the weekends: shelves, trim, a new coat rack. I'm weirdly proud of my family. I've always been that person you call when something breaks, or when someone needs a ride, or when a bill accidentally posts twice. My parents? They don't say it out loud, but I'm the background son, the steady paycheck, the good insurance, the boring one who just shows up. My sister, Sophia, she's the golden one. Seriously, she could spill coffee on the mayor and my mom would call it performance art. She's charming in ways you just can't argue with. When she talks, people lean in. She's got 2 kids, Max and Ivy, who always wear these perfectly coordinated outfits in every single photo she posts, usually with long captions about intention and slow living. I'd scroll past, then go back to measuring stair treads. Childhood wasn't cruel, not exactly. It was just obviously tilted. Sophia's ballet shoes were always a priority. My cleats. Maybe next month. Her bedroom got a hand-painted mural. Mine got a lecture about responsibility. When I landed my first internship, Dad's reaction was, "That's great. Don't forget your sister's car needs a tune-up." I just thought, that's what families do, right? Help each other. So I said yes. A lot. This year, Children's Day fell on a Tuesday. My parents, naturally, turned it into Grandkids Day because it's cute and, well, they only have grandkids. They asked us to come after work. I came straight from a site walk, still in my dusty boots, my tablet tucked under my arm. Maya had parent-teacher conferences, so I picked up Liam and Emma from aftercare, changed their shirts in the car, even combed Emma's hair with a little water from my hand. When we pulled up, balloons were tied to the fence. Inside, the house smelled like butter and cinnamon. Mom had a banner strung up, all glitter letters, "Grandkids Feast." The dining table was set with a pristine white runner, gold plastic cutlery, and 4 elegant name cards: Max, Ivy, Sophia, Mom. There were little jars of daisies and a kid's throne chair with a fancy sash. Cute. Instagram ready. But my kids? They weren't in the dining room. I found them in the living room, backs against the sofa, sitting on the carpet with paper plates. Their plates held a single scoop of macaroni, already crusted at the edges, a sad, curled hot dog, and 2 grapes rolling around. Meanwhile, Max and Ivy were at the main table, eating chicken cutlets and mashed potatoes from real plates, the kind my mom only uses for holidays. And there were cupcakes with tiny sugar crowns, 4 of them, already on the table. I counted them without even meaning to. "Hey," I said, trying to sound light. "Why are you guys out here?" Emma just shrugged. Grandma said it's the kids' zone. Liam didn't even look up. He was concentrating on trying to cut that hot dog with a plastic fork that kept bending. I carried my dust and my forced calm into the kitchen. Mom turned from the stove, a bright smile plastered on her face. "Arnold, you made it. Take your boots off, sweetheart." I glanced back at the dining table. "Mom, where should I set Liam and Emma?" She waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, they're fine in there. Less mess. Besides," she added, her voice a little too casual, "they're used to leftovers." That word, leftovers, it landed like a small, sharp stone. Sophia, her hair perfect, leaned against the counter, swirling a stemless glass of wine. She smirked, like cameras were rolling. "You should be grateful they got anything," she said. Light joking, not joking. I looked at Liam, still sawing at that hot dog. Emma had her little knees tucked under her, watching those cupcakes like they were stars. My chest did that tight thing. It wasn't rage, not yet. It was a slow, careful click. Like when a door that's been scraping on the floor finally finds the right angle and just closes. I didn't say a word. I set my tablet on the counter. It lit up with my calendar. Tomorrow's site meeting. Thursday's client call. And right there, glowing in yellow, mortgage due in 3 days. My thumb hovered over a different recurring payment, one I'd set up a year ago out of temporary help. I looked at my kids on the carpet, at the cupcakes lined up like a crown, at my sister's knowing smile. And I felt something settle. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just went back to the living room, sat cross-legged beside my kids, and started cutting the hot dog with my house key. That was the first click. The temporary help had started 14 months ago. A phone call, 10:42 p.m. Mom said their mortgage rate jumped after the adjustment. Things are tight, she said, like it was a weather report. Dad had surprise dental work. Sophia's freelance checks were delayed again. They were just a little behind, she said, and could I bridge them over for a few months? I was in the middle of revising a stair detail. I looked at the numbers, and I said yes. I set up a recurring transfer, $1,050 on the first of the month to my parents' mortgage, just for a bit. Then came the utilities one rough winter, $230 for gas, $118 for electric. Then Sophia's minivan needed brakes, for $187. Max's soccer registration, $165. Ivy's speech therapy until insurance kicked in, $320 monthly. I kept a spreadsheet because I'm that kind of person. I like square cells and totals at the bottom. I told myself it was fine. Family. Temporary. The problem with temporary is that people get comfortable. The first month, you're the hero. The fourth month, you're the plan. The eighth month, you're the floor no one looks at because they just assume it'll hold. Meanwhile, our life? It wasn't flashy. My salary is steady, but not endless. Architecture is. Ours, not yachts. Maya's teacher paycheck is honest and small. We have a mortgage that squeaks if I don't watch it. Daycare used to eat us alive. Now aftercare nibbles. We budget. I drive a 12-year-old hatchback that sticks in second when it's cold. I take side gigs some nights, small permits, decks, a garage conversion for a neighbor. I run numbers in my head while I brush my teeth. And still I said yes. I watched my parents' fridge fill with those fancy yogurts Mom liked. I watched Sophia post blissed-out weekends from a cabin. I brought over space heaters when their furnace groaned, and then watched Dad give one to Sophia because she gets cold easily. I swallowed hard and rationalized. Asterisk, my kids are fine. We're fine. This is kindness. This is what grown sons do. Asterisk, Sophia's golden glow. It dictated the rules. When she launched her studio, Mom and Dad threw a party. I built her shelves as a gift. She called my work rustic, which is what people say when they want to be kind about your free labor. When I sent her the drawings for a small ADA ramp her landlord required, she texted, "You're a lifesaver," and then forwarded me the landlord's email asking for a stamped set. I paid my structural engineer friend $200 to help because I didn't want her to lose the lease. The small humiliations stacked up in quiet piles. At my kids' birthdays, Mom would hand Max his present first, the biggest bag. "Open, open," she'd squeal, filming him. He'd pull out a remote control truck that cost more than our weekly groceries. For Liam, she'd just pat his head and say, "We're doing experiences this year for you, honey. We'll go to the park." Sophia would laugh. Minimalism. It's all the rage. On Easter, Ivy got a custom basket with a tiny embroidered dress. Emma got a Target bag with a sheet of stickers. Mom said, "It's the thought." Maya bit her lip so hard I saw the white line. Money flowed like water in one direction. Words flowed the other way. "You're so stable, Arnold. We're lucky to have you. Your sister is fragile. You know, the creative life. You can handle it. Be a good son. Be a good brother." Somewhere in there, I lost the thread of being a good father to my own kids, because the math didn't always let me say yes to them. The stakes went up slowly, like someone turning a dimmer. 3 months ago, Sophia called me, crying, at 7:06 a.m. "I messed up my taxes," she wailed. "There's a penalty." She needed $2,300 just to file because she forgot the quarterly estimated thing. She hated to ask. I Venmo'd $1,000 and told her I couldn't do more. She said, "No worries," in that airy way that made it sound like I'd given her a glass of water, not $1,000 I didn't really have. 2 months ago, Mom brought up the idea of a grandkids fund. She pitched it like a startup. Every month, we all put in for experiences, classes, college later. It'll make memories. She looked at me when she said we all, but her eyes landed and stayed there. You could do $400, right? You make more than your sister. I said, I'd think about it. She took that as a yes. 1 month ago, Dad asked me to co-sign on Sophia's refinance, just to get her through this rate. He said it like he was talking about a flu. She's almost there. He smiled the way dads smile when they want you to do the right thing for the team. I said no. It was the first no that sounded like a full stop. He got quiet and said, don't be dramatic. Then came Children's Day. Maya had texted me at 4:11 p.m. Please take snacks. Emma crashes if she doesn't eat by 5. I sent a thumbs up and swung by the house to grab apples. We arrived at my parents' place at 5:36. The cupcakes on the grandkids' table had little tags that said Max's chocolate, Ivy's strawberry, and 2 with extras in faint pen. The extras never had names. They were for whoever was lucky. I don't think 2 grapes and a crusty Max scoop would have broken me by themselves. It was the comment and the smirk. They're used to leftovers. You should be grateful. The way Sophia's kids got glitter crowns that said Prince and Princess, while Liam and Emma sat on carpet lint, eating with plastic forks that kept snapping. In that moment, in the kitchen, with my boots and my dust and my spreadsheet hiding in my phone, I felt the math invert. The plan I'd been quietly sketching since last year was about to change shape. Not out of revenge, not to be cruel, but because I looked at my own 2 kids and realized I had been teaching them something I didn't believe. That our family's comfort came second to preserving an illusion, that Sophia shines and everyone else is just here to make the light look good. I didn't say anything that night. I watched. I noted which cupcakes got passed. I helped Emma peel grape skins because she said the skins are too loud. I listened to Sophia talk about her upcoming retreat in Sedona. I saw Mom tag me in a photo where Liam's head was cut off. And when I tucked my phone away, I knew exactly what button I would press later. And what line I would draw. It didn't explode at the table. It exploded at the presentation. After the kids ate, some more than others, Mom called everyone into the dining room and dimmed the lights like it was a slideshow. She had printed sheets. Yes, printed, labeled Grandkids Fund. There were columns. There was a monthly target at the bottom, $800. There were names with suggested amounts. Sophia, $0, in-kind contributions. Mom and Dad, $100, hosting. Arnold, $700. She even had stars next to my name. Just to get us started, she said, beaming. Maya had arrived by then. She came straight from conferences, with 2 tote bags and that exhausted teacher smile. She squeezed my hand under the table. I felt my pulse slow and get heavy, like it does when a beam is carrying more than it should. Mom launched into her pitch. Experiences. Soccer, ballet, maybe a little Disneyland next summer. She looked at me on Disneyland. Dad cleared his throat and added, we all have to sacrifice for the kids. Sophia smiled and said, I can contribute in other ways. Planning, coordinating, creating a vibe. The word vibe made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. I set my printed sheet down. I'm not doing $700. The room paused. You could hear the fridge hum. Mom blinked. It's just until. I'm not doing it. I repeated, my voice calm. And I'm ending the mortgage transfer next month. Mom's face did a complicated thing. Shock first, then hurt, then anger dressed as disappointment. Arnold, that mortgage is what's keeping us in our home. I covered it for 14 months, I said. That's $14,700, not counting winter utilities and everything else. You told me it was temporary. Sophia laughed softly. Wow, he keeps receipts. I looked at her. Yes, I keep receipts. Dad pushed his chair back. We're family. You don't nickel and dime family. Maya's hand tightened around mine. He's not nickel and diming, she said. He's outlining a boundary. Sophia rolled her eyes. Don't turn this into a therapy session. Maya. I could feel heat in my neck, but my voice stayed even. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. And boundaries. Silence. Then Mom went for the oldest tool in the box. Your sister needs support. She's raising 2 children. I am also raising 2 children, I said. Who ate on the floor tonight? They like picnics. Mom snapped. They like chairs, Maya said quietly. Sophia leaned in, her voice low. You think you're better than me because you have a W-2? I think my kids deserve the same respect as yours, I said. And I think money without respect is a leash. I'm done wearing it. Mom exhaled through her nose. If you cancel that mortgage payment, we could lose the house. I pulled out my phone, not to be dramatic, but because we were finally saying true things. I opened my bank app, scrolled to the recurring transfer labeled M, Parents. My thumb hovered, then tapped Edit. I set it to end this month. The button turned gray. Effective after this month, I said. You've got 30 days to adjust. Dad stood up, chair legs scraping. Get out, he said, but it sounded more like a ritual than a command. If you won't help family, then maybe you're not family. I am family, I said. I'm just done being the floor. Liam and Emma were watching from the doorway. I crouched and smiled. Shoes on, I said brightly. We're going home. On the way out, Emma whispered. Do we get cupcakes at home? Yes, I said. We're stopping at the store for the cheap ones with too much frosting. In the car, Maya let out a breath she'd been holding for months. You okay? She asked. Not yet, I said. But I know where the studs are now. I can hang new shelves. The call started at 8:13 a.m. the next day. Mom first, then Dad, then Sophia with a 3-line text that somehow managed to include selfish, ungrateful, and hope you can sleep at night. By noon, I had 19 missed calls. By the end of the week, 47. The voicemails were a catalog: guilt, anger, bargaining. Arnold, we will literally be homeless. A man takes care of his parents. Thanks for teaching your kids scarcity. I didn't respond right away. I went to work. I did punch walks. I marked up a pay app. I ate a granola bar at my desk and accidentally typed leftovers into a wall tag instead of left. I fixed it and laughed alone in my cubicle like a crazy person. At night, Maya and I sat at the table with my spreadsheet open. I read out loud, line by line, like we were cataloging lumber. Mortgage, $1,050 x 14 equals $14,700. Winter gas, $230 x 3 equals $690. Electric, $118 x 3 equals $354. Brakes, $487. Max soccer, $165. IV therapy, $320 x 4 equals $1,280. Sophia taxes, $1,000. Maya added it fast on her phone. $18,676, she said softly. We've basically bought them a car. We drafted a message together. Not a clap back, not a rant. Just a clear, short email to Mom and Dad with the subject, moving forward. I attached the spreadsheet. I've been covering the mortgage and other expenses for over a year. This was presented as temporary. Our household can't sustain it. Effective next month, I'm ending the recurring transfer and won't be contributing to the grandkids fund. I will continue showing up for holidays if everyone is treated equally. I won't co-sign anything. If you sell the house, I'll help you move boxes and hang shelves. This isn't punishment. This is a boundary. I love you, Arnold. Then I sent a shorter text to Sophia. I won't be financing your life. Please stop asking. I put the phone face down and let the quiet sit. Day 2, the tone shifted. Mom texted, we were just shocked. Come over to talk. Dad called and left a calmer message about misunderstandings. Sophia posted a story with a quote about people who withhold love to control you, with a glittery background. I turned off her stories for 30 days. It felt like taking out the trash and hearing the bin lid close. Practical things took shape. I went to my parents' garage and picked up my boxes of tools because Dad said, if you won't help, you can't store your stuff here. He said it like a slam, but it was a favor. I found my old chalk line, a box of tile spacers, the little level with the bubble I used when I built Sophia's shelves. I put them in my hatchback and drove home with the back squeaking. I called the bank to confirm the transfer would end after the current month. The rep asked if I wanted to delete the payee. Not yet, I said, but I want the habit gone. I moved that $1,050 into a new line in our budget labeled Hours. I scheduled Emma for swim lessons. I ordered Liam the book series he kept borrowing from the library and then renewing because he didn't want to give them back. A week in, Mom tried a new angle. She sent photos of loose shingles and a text that said, house falling apart. I replied, I'll come Saturday with my ladder. She wrote back, we don't need errands. We need support. I went Saturday anyway. I fixed the shingles. I left a note that said, "This is support. Love." It wasn't petty. It was me choosing how I would help. Sophia sent me a long message on a Tuesday at 11:52 p.m., the hour people pick when they want to say everything and pretend it was the wine. "You have no idea how hard it is to be me. Mom and Dad expect things. The kids expect things. You're lucky you like rules. Not everyone does. Max needs camp money. Ivy needs new shoes. Why is it easy for you to watch them struggle?" I stared at it, then typed, "It's not easy. It's also not my job." She wrote back, "You're cold." I didn't answer. I put my phone on airplane mode and slept like someone had finally turned down a noise I didn't realize had been on for years. There were awkward ripples. Grandma called and said, "Family is everything." I said, "My kids are family." And Aunt texted me, "We heard you cut your parents off." I replied, "I stopped paying their mortgage. They are adults." She left it on read. At work, my project manager noticed I wasn't staying late every night. "Everything okay?" he asked. "First time I've seen you leave on time 2 days in a row." I smiled. "I'm building something at home." He laughed and said, "Make sure it's permitted." It was permitted. I wasn't detonating a house. I was removing a load I shouldn't have been carrying and moving it back to its proper place. A small gray sneak-in. Mom called, her voice small. We met with the bank. She said they could do a forbearance for 3 months. She sounded embarrassed. We're going to sell the boat." The boat was 12 feet of fiberglass Dad kept swearing he'd fix, but it hadn't touched water since 2009. "That's good," I said gently. "I can help list it." "What if we can't keep the house?" she asked. "Then we help you move," I said, "to something you can afford." She started to cry. Not angry crying, tired crying. "We wanted to give you kids more." "I know," I said, "but you gave us a lesson instead." "What lesson?" she asked. "That I don't want to do this to my kids." Another week. 32 missed calls total. Then none. A quiet I didn't know I needed settled over our evenings. We ate at our own table, and I noticed how Emma arranges peas by color, how Liam tells a story in wide arcs that somehow land exactly where they should. I stopped mentally calculating other people's bills during bedtime. I said yes to an ice cream stop without checking the bank app first. On a sunny Saturday, we took the kids back to my parents for a short visit. I had told Mom, "Equal seats, equal plates, or we leave." When we arrived, the dining table had 6 plates. There were no name cards, no crowns, no glitter banner. Just food. Good food. Chicken cutlets, mashed potatoes, green beans. The kids sat together and clinked their plastic cups. Mom watched them like she didn't know if she was allowed to enjoy it. Sophia didn't come. Dad handed me the mail like nothing had happened. "A water bill," he said. "You know they charge you to make water and then again to take it away." He was trying to be funny. I let him. After we ate, I went up on the roof to check the shingles again. Hammer, 3 nails, a dab of tar. It felt like the work I know. Clear problems, clear fixes. When I climbed down, Mom was waiting with a small container. "For the kids," she said. "Cupcakes." I opened it. For inside. No crowns. Just frosting. "Thanks, Mom," I said. She touched my arm. "You're a good father," she whispered, like a secret. "I'm trying," I said. On the drive home, Liam asked if Grandma's house was going away. "Maybe the house is changing," I said. "But Grandma and Grandpa aren't going away." "What about Aunt Sophia?" Emma asked. "She's a grown-up," I said carefully. "She'll figure out her own money." "What's money?" Emma asked, dead serious. I smiled. "Numbers that should match the choices you make." Maya squeezed my knee. "That's one way to put it." That night, I opened my spreadsheet and renamed it Past Support. Then I opened a new one and labeled it Hours. The first line was Emma Swim, $168. The second was Liam Book Fair, $125. I added another. Date night, $140. It felt outrageous. And necessary. When I closed the laptop, the house felt different. Not bigger. Not richer. Just finally, truly ours. It didn't end in fireworks. It ended in boring habits. I stopped checking my phone every hour. I stopped being the emergency contact for grown adults. I started telling my kids yes to little things. Colored pencils from the art store, a $1.50 donut after school, 10 extra minutes of Minecraft. I started running again in the mornings, 3 slow miles listening to houses wake up. I started leaving work on time twice a week and not apologizing. 2 weeks after the feast, Sophia texted, "So you're serious?" I wrote back, "Yes." She replied, "You're lost." I let it sit. A month later, she sent a picture of Max at soccer with a caption, "Found a scholarship." I sent a thumbs up. No lecture. Not my job. Maybe she felt that. Maybe not. Mom and Dad listed the boat. A guy from 2 towns over bought it for $900 cash. Dad looked weirdly relieved, like a secret had finally moved out. They met with a financial counselor at the bank. Mom told me in a small voice. They canceled cable. They started cooking at home. Dad fixed a leak himself and called to brag. We went over, and I said, "Nice work." And I meant it. We went back for Sunday dinner one night. No banner. No throne chair. For cupcakes, one for each kid. No extras. Mom set a plate in front of Emma and said, "I saved you the biggest one." And then caught herself, looked at Max, cut his bigger too, then cut the others to match. It was clumsy. And perfect. After dishes, Dad mumbled, "Thanks for the shingles," like gratitude was a language he was relearning. "Of course," I said. I put my hammer back in the trunk and felt like I'd finally put a tool away after leaving it on the floor for a year. On the way home, Maya asked how I felt. I thought about the numbers, the calls, the spreadsheets, the cupcakes. Like I moved a wall, I said. Not the house kind. The kind in my head. I don't want revenge. I don't want a scoreboard. I want a kitchen table where my kids don't learn that generosity means swallowing humiliation. I want a family group chat with pictures of missing teeth and school projects, not invoices disguised as love. I used to think love meant paying quietly and never asking for a chair. Now I think love is a chair and a plate that looks like everyone else's. I think love sometimes sounds like, "No, I'm not going to co-sign anything. I'm not a fund. I'm not a safety net stretched so tight that my own kids fall through. I will show up with a ladder. I will bring soup when you're sick. I will fix shingles. I will celebrate what you can afford. I will not be the floor. I won't allow anyone to teach my children that they're leftover people. I won't allow my stability to be a reason to ignore their needs. I won't allow guilt to run our budget. I won't allow silence to stand in for respect." And it's about building slow, careful, with lines that meet, something that can finally hold. So what about you? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family, even when it felt like everything was on the line? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments.